Hari Om. We shall chant from verse number 51. Karmajam buddhi yukta hi phalam tyaktva manishinaha janma bandha vinirmuktaha padam gacchantyanāmayam yada te moha kalilam buddhirvyatitarishyati tada gantasi nirvedam shrotavyasya shrutasya cha shruti vipratipannate yada thasyati nischala samadhavachala buddhihi tada yogamavapsyasi. Arjuna uvaca stita prajñasya ka bhāṣa samadhisthasya keshava stitadhi kim prabhāṣeta kimasita vrajeta kim. Shri Bhagavan uvaca prajahati yada kaman sarvan parthamanogatan atmannevatmana tuštah stita prajñastadochyate. So Stita Prajna, a person of steady wisdom, steady understanding that I am that Brahma, this knowledge, this wisdom becomes very steady, very clear, free from all doubts. Just as an ignorant person is convinced that I am the body, the wise person is convinced that I am that Brahma. So such an enlightened person is called Stita Prajna. He is also called Jivan Mukta, one who is free while living itself. So he continues experiencing the world, continues to experience the body, mind, but he has gained the wisdom that all this is Brahma alone. So how he has reached this state? First is by following the path of Karma Yoga. So through Karma Yoga one becomes free of all our impurities of the mind. All raga, dvesha and all impurities of the mind goes away by performing our karma according to the Karma Yoga attitude, fulfilling all our responsibilities as worship of God, remaining same, accepting all as his prasad. Whatever result comes is Bhagwan's prasad. So when one lives in this way, the mind starts becoming more and more pure, and such a pure mind becomes fit for inquiry into the nature of the self. The jidnyasa arises, and with the help of the scriptures, with the help of the teacher, one inquires and comes to recognize the nature of one's own self, free from the disturbance of the mind, intellect, senses. One comes to realize the nature of the self. The understanding that I am this Brahma becomes very firm. So such a person is called Stita Prajna. prajna, his understanding has become firm, established in the self. So what are the characteristics of such a person? That is the question which Arjuna asked. कि स्थित प्रज्ञस्य का भाषा समाधिस्थस्य केशव, कि हे केशव, what is the nature of this स्थित प्रज्ञ, who is also called samadhistha, one who is established in samadhi, who is also called sthitadhi, whose dhi, buddhi is very steady. So how does he walk, how does he talk, how does he sit, how does he interact with the world around? What is his nature? So how can one recognize such a sthita prajna? Not only in outside, but one can recognize this nature in oneself also. When one starts following this path, one can see whether such lakshanas are there in whatever degrees in ourself also. Just as one drives in a particular place, you have heard that, okay, if you go to such a place, as you drive in the Himalayas and all, if you reach such a height, you will see this place. If you go further, you can see this river. So some signs are mentioned in the map, etc. And when we see them, we know that I am in the right direction. Similarly, when one notices these signs in oneself, then one knows that one is in the right direction. So what are the signs of a realized, enlightened person? In the first verse itself, this 55th verse itself, Bhagwan gives very important these signs, and it's twofold. One is he has become free of all his kamnas. He has renounced all his kamnas. And he is supremely content in his own self. So, prajahati yada kaman sarvan partha manogatan, craving, desires of the mind which have entered the mind, such desires have been dropped. The desires created by our fanciful imaginations. The desires are created with the notion that the joy or pleasure is there in the world outside. So such fanciful imagination, what you call desires created by such imagination, are renounced totally. They just go away from the mind of a realized person. But that doesn't mean he becomes free, totally devoid of all joy, all pleasure. No. He says, Atmani eva atmana tushtaha. In his own self, by his own self, he is completely tushtaha, satisfied. Tushti is full satisfaction. A attitude that I am complete, that there is no more anything required. Alam pratyavan is enough. See, just as we feel satisfied when we have a good meal. That is the only example I can give. Because with any other thing in this world we are not satisfied. But meal is possibility that we say enough. और नहीं चाहिए बस बहुत हो गया. I am fully content. There is no more place for anything extra. No more gulab jamun can enter the system. Similarly, when a person feels supremely content in his heart, that there is nothing more required. Everything, totality is there with me. Supreme bliss is there. Supreme peace is there. That there cannot be anything more added to. There is no place to add anything more. Infinite bliss. In infinity you can't add anything more. If you add add 10 more, it doesn't become infinity plus 10. Infinity is infinity. So that type of attitude or experience is there in a realized master. Atmani eva atmana tushtaha. Therefore, there is no dependency on anything else. See, one may say, oh, you must be depending on the food, clothing, shelter. But food, clothing, shelter is required for the body. The realized master is convinced that I am not the body, I am that supreme self. So there is no need for the self for all these things. As long as the body is there, as long as the prarabdha of the body is there, all these things will come, and once the prarabdha of the body is over, the body will be dropped off. Of the Mahatma also. So as long as this body is there, it will continue to function. But the self is concerned, it is already free. There is no more need for anything. So that is the state of the Jivan Mukta, the Sthita Prajna. Person free while living itself. And that is the goal indicated in our scriptures. Ultimate goal. See, through karma, we get objects in this world. Through punya karma, etc., we can go to other lokas, Svarga lok and all. But that is also not considered as the ultimate goal. Because even after going to Svarga, once the punya is over, we have to come back. Kshine punye martyalokam vishanti. So that is not the ultimate. See, many religions also talks about going to heaven, but that is not considered as the ultimate thing because it is the result of karma, and the result of karma is always limited because karma itself is limited. So the result is also limited. So living in this world itself, person becomes free. Atmani eva atmana tushtaha. Jivan Mukta. So he is called Sthita Prajna. So what more characteristics are there in this Sthita Prajna? Now Bhagwan tells in the following verses. Dukkheshvanudvigna manaha Sukheshu vigata spraha वीतराग भय क्रोधः स्थितधीर्मुनिरुच्यते दुःखेष्वनुद्विग्नमनाः सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः. Is called a Sthitadhi, a Sthita Prajna, whose dhi, buddhi has become steady, whose understanding has become steady in the self, that I am Brahma. This understanding is steady, cannot be changed, that person cannot be distracted. There is no more confusion. The knowledge is what you call complete, free from all doubt. Such a Sthitadhi, he says, Dukkheshu anudvigna manaha. How is his mind? He says that even in the Jivan Mukta person's life, conditions come which can give sorrow to an ordinary person. Because the world remains same. Just by becoming enlightened, the world doesn't change. By becoming enlightened, the body will not change. If there is some disease in the body, it will remain. Not that suddenly with enlightenment disease will disappear. The mind will remain as it is. The buddhi will remain. The senses, because these are all equipments, they will remain as it is. It's like suppose I am using a mobile. Just imagine this as mobile. If I am using it, and I am associated with it, I can interact, I can use it, I can interact with the world. But when I keep it aside, that doesn't change me, because I am different from it anyway. Similarly, the self is different from all this equipment. The self remains same. The equipment keeps changing. And the equipment also remains with its nature. So the whatever be the nature of the body, that nature doesn't change. It remains like that. So, in the life of a Jivan Mukta also, situations comes which can give sorrow, or a sorrowful situation can come, and a joyful situation can also come, because this is part of life. Whether a person is rich or poor, young or old, all these situations keep on coming. Even in the life of Bhagwan, when he takes avatar, different types of conditions keep coming. Like Ramchandra ji had to go to the forest for 14 years. Bhagwan Krishna, so many Rakshasas and all came after him to kill him. So all these situations are always there. So how does a realized master looks at it, deals with it? He says that dukkheshu, in a sorrowful situation, his mind doesn't get agitated. Anudvigna manaha. The mind doesn't get agitated in a sorrowful situation. See, situation is there outside. The mind interacts with that outside world. Our senses see the outside world. Then our buddhi interprets this outside world. And depending on our interpretation, we feel happy or sad. Sometimes the situation remaining same, one person feels happy, another feels sad. Condition remaining same. It is how I interpret it, how those information reaches me, how I analyzes it, and what conclusion I draw from it. From that is determined how I will react to that situation. But for a realized person, whether good, bad, indifferent situation, in everything he sees that same reality. For a realized person, everything is same. He sees that oneness, same truth in all. He knows the outer name and forms are different, but in all these different names and form, he could see that one supreme reality. Sab mein ek hi tattva. Siya Ramamay sab jag jani. Vasudevas sarvamiti. He sees that same truth everywhere. It's like let us that example, let us say of gold. Whatever be the ornament, if one has got the drishti of gold, you will see gold everywhere. In all. Or like money. Let us say I have a 1,000 rupee note. Just imagine. So nice, fresh 1,000 rupee note. So those who recognize it, they know the value of it. Suppose I crumple it and show, still the value remains same. Whatever I do with it, unless I tear it or burn it or something, but whatever I do, the form changes, but the value remains same. Similarly, the form changes in this world, but the value remains same. That everything is divine. And that value is seen by a realized person. Ignorant person sees the form and gets affected by the form. But the wise person sees the value in it. So, dukkheshu anudvigna manaha. In sorrowful condition, the mind of a realized person doesn't get agitated. Remains calm, peaceful. Because his joy and sorrow doesn't depend on the world. His peace doesn't depend on the world. His existence doesn't depend on the world. Therefore there is no fear because existence doesn't depend. There is no craving because there's joy doesn't depend on the world. So there is absolutely total freedom from all agitation. It's like when we see a movie, though sometimes we identify with the movie and get agitated, but suppose you see and there is no connection, there is no identification, then whatever happens, it doesn't bother. There is no attachment to it. Similarly, for a wise person, there is no attachment. The mind remains unagitated in sorrow. So, dukkheshu anudvigna manaha. And what about sukha? He says, sukheshu vigata spruhaha. In sukha, in a happy condition of the world around, the realized master remains free of all attachment also. There is no spruha. Generally for an ignorant person, when a happy condition is there, he wants to repeat that condition, wants to experience it again and again. Therefore, we get more and more attached to it. We get attached to the experience of joy which we derive in it. So, we want to repeat that experience. Just like a person gets addicted to some sort of drinks or drugs and all. So, one may take it and get some sort of pleasure. Then that person wants to get addicted, wants to repeat that pleasure. So one keeps on continuing with the same thing. One person was drinking and his wife was wondering why this fellow drinks every day and all. So she also wanted to taste it. So she tasted and it was so kadwa and all. And she said such horrible thing, how do you drink it? He said, now you understand that I am not drinking it for pleasure. So, one may continue with certain things because it gives us that pleasure, that joy. And one gets more and more attached to it. So, but a realized master remains unagitated in sorrow and doesn't get attached, doesn't want to repeat the joyful condition also. So, remains untouched by joy and sorrow. Vitaraga bhaya krodaha, again free from raga, attachment, bhaya, fear, krodha, anger. These three also go together. When we are totally attached to something or someone, there is fear also. Fear of losing that person, fear of losing that object. So, deep attachment also is associated with fear. And when something happens, some obstruction comes, that also gets converted into anger. So raga, bhaya and krodha, they go together like. Too much of attachment gives rise to fear also, gives rise to anger also. So vitaraga bhaya krodha, but a realized master is not attached to anything or anyone. There is no fear in his heart of losing anything or acquiring anything, and there is no krodha also. So vitaraga bhaya krodha stitadhihi muniruchyate. Such a person is called stitadhi, whose buddhi has become steady in the self and is called a muni also. Mananashilvan, contemplative sage, free from all attachment. So these are the lakshanas, the characteristic of a realized person. And as I said yesterday, that this becomes a sadhana for others, for the seekers. So with effort, we should also try to be like this, become free of agitation due to sorrow and become free of all attachment to the joys, pleasures of this world around, and try to be free of raga, bhaya and krodha with effort, with contemplation, through satsang, through prayer, through upasana, through japa, we can achieve this. Through our study, we can achieve this. So what is natural for a realized master becomes a sadhana to be followed with effort for others. Now more in the next words. Yas sarvatranabhisneha tat tat prapya shubhashubham nabhinandati nadveshti tasya prajna pratisthita यस सर्वत्रानभिस्नेहः तत्तत् प्राप्य शुभाशुभम्. He says yaha, he whoever that person is, this stita prajna, sarvatra anabhisneha, is totally free from all attachment in all, in the body, in life, in objects, in house, in relatives, friends. There is no attachment. Abhisneha, sneha, attachment. See, just as attachment means what our Gurudev used to say, I plus I want. Where I, the ego is involved, and want is also involved. When I say I like someone, I is important in there, and why I like? Because that person or that object gives me pleasure. So my selfishness is involved in my attachment. Actually, all attachment, they have some sort of selfishness in them. It is not pure love. So I like someone, I love someone because that person gives me joy. If that person stops giving me joy, the love also starts reducing. आहिस्ता आहिस्ता कम होता है. Then the other person complains, अभी तो बदल गया है, पहले बहुत अच्छा था, अभी you don't even remember my name, forget about my birthday. So our attachment is actually through that other person I love myself. It is self-love only. That person gives me joy, that person gives me some status, value in the society and all. So I love that person. But when I stop receiving that, that love also disappears. So it is selfish sort of love. But an ignorant person has this towards everyone around in more or less degrees. But for a realized master, there is no attachment for anyone. But a realized master has got love for everyone. An enlightened person loves everyone, but is not attached to anyone. There is love for all. There is a what you call desire for or a wish for everyone's welfare in his heart, but there is no attachment. In the 12th chapter, Bhagavan talks about Bhakta Lakshana. He said, Adveshta sarvabhutanam maitra karuna evacha. That a realized master, a bhakta, is one who has got no enmity towards anyone, who is friendly towards all. So there is love for everyone. So yaha sarvatra anabhisneha tat prapya shubha shubham. Not only to human being, animal, bird, plant, but also to situation and to objects of this world and to conditions, whether they are Shubha or Ashubha, conducive or non-conducive, good or bad, he has got no attachment, free from all attachment. There is a very beautiful thing said in Yoga Sutra, that one of the sadhana is to imagine the state of a realized person, the mind of the realized person. So all these lakshanas, with the help of them, we have to imagine that how that realized person must be thinking, must be feeling, and to bring that feeling in ourselves is also a sadhana. Therefore, that is the idea behind even singing some of the praises or hymns, stutis, etc. For example, Mirabai sings stuti or Tulsidas ji sings stuti of Bhagwan. He sings with his own feeling. We may not have similar feeling, but when we chant that stuti continuously, slowly and steadily, that feeling will come into us. And when it comes, then our mind will become pure. Sri Ramachandra Kripalu Bhajamana Harana Bhava Bhayadarunam. So when Tulsidas ji sings, he sings with that bhava. But when we sing, we might just sing it. Gad, 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 gad. But after singing for a long time, slowly bringing that devotion, that feeling, one day will come when our feeling will match with Tulsidas ji's feeling. And when that happens, our mind will become pure. Then understand that your mind has become pure. Therefore, we sing the songs of realized masters. We try to identify with their attitude, their knowledge, their emotions, etc. So, yaha sarvatra anabhisneha tat tat prapya shubha shubham na abhinandati na dveshti. He neither congratulates nor becomes happy with any happy situation, nor hates the unhappy situation. Na abhinandati. Abhinandan nahi karta acha. Abhinandan to a happy or a very nice situation, or there is unhappy situation, na dveshti, uska dvesh nahi karta hai, doesn't get affected. See, when we get affected by the good and bad of this world, that means we are still attached to this world. That means we are not yet aware of our own supreme nature. But a realized master is one who has recognized his own self, so doesn't become happy nor become sad also about it. This we see in the life of a realized person. Also we see in Bhagwan's avatar, when Bhagwan takes avatar. When Bhagwan took avatar as Ramchandra ji, he was told that tomorrow is your Rajyabhishek. So he was prasanna. Then he was called and told that thoda program change ho gaya hai. Instead of Rajyabhishek, you will have to go to the forest. Not 1 or 2 days for picnic or something, for about 14 years. Like a hermit, without carrying any luxurious things with you. And it did not create any agitation in him. He was as prasanna as when he was told that Rajyabhishek will happen. It didn't create any disturbance in his mind. And that is the nature of a realized master. When Bal Gangadhar Tilak was in jail, he was they gave him the letters which came to him, were given to him. And in one of the letters, there were many letters, in one of the letters there was this news that his wife expired. So he was reading those letters one by one. Then he picked up this letter and he read it and he felt whatever emotion. Then he kept that letter. Then he picked up another one. So the person who brought the letter, he knew the news. So he thought maybe he did not read the letter properly. So he again kept it. He said, no, I have read it. But here I cannot do anything. I can only pray and go ahead in my life. So for an enlightened person or for a great seeker, there is a total different attitude towards the good and bad of this world. They take it as prasad, कि भगवान का प्रसाद है, अच्छा हो बुरा हो भगवान का प्रसाद है, which is a totally different attitude. We get excited if something is good and start cursing everyone when something is not conducive to us. But that is not the attitude with which a realized person looks at this world. So, na abhinandati, na dveshti, tasya prajna pratishtitha. If a person has attained this type of attitude, then understand his prajna is steady, his wisdom has become firm. Because only with that firm understanding that I am Brahma, all this is possible. Otherwise, one has to put forth effort. But when that firm understanding is there, then this is possible. Just as suppose you are being, let us say, you are being chased by a tiger. So you are running, tiger is running after you. Slowly the tiger is picking up speed. So you also try to run with full speed. Then suddenly you find yourself on your bed. No tiger, no forest, no nothing. What do? Do you get up from your bed and start running? No, you will not run. Because instantly you are in a different state altogether. Your understanding has totally got transformed. That I am safe and I am sitting here and there is no tiger here. Similarly, for an enlightened person, the understanding that I am Brahma is absolutely clear, steady. Even when he looks at this world, even when he experiences this world, he knows that I am that Brahma, birthless, deathless, free from all changes. So, tasya prajna pratishtita, whose prajna is very steady. Further, Bhagavan says, Yada samharate chayam kurmonganiva sarvashah indriyani indriyarthebhyah tasya prajna pratishtita yada samharate chayam kurmonganiva sarvashah. The expression of that realization is seen at the level of the senses also. The senses of the realized master is perfectly under his control. The eyes, ears, nose, the pancha jnanendriyas, pancha karmendriyas, even the antakarana are totally under his control. Here a beautiful example is given. Bhagavan says, Yada samharate cha ayam kurmaha. Kurmaha is a tortoise. The tortoise, it has got his head, four what you call this legs, and a tail, all his limbs, they come out of the shell. And whenever the tortoise feels some danger, it withdraws all this within itself. So even some animals and all, they try to eat them, the shell is so hard, they can't even bite it. So it remains safe inside. And when the danger is not there, again it projects its limbs outside. And some this tortoise, they live for such a long time. Sometimes you might be sitting on a rock thinking it is a rock, then after some time you see it moving. It's a tortoise. So Kurma is called. So Yada Samharate Cha Ayam. Chayam doesn't mean chai, huh? Cha Ayam it is. So Yada Samharate Chayam Kurmongani iva sarva. Kurma angan iva sarvashaha. So just as a tortoise can withdraw all its names within its shell whenever it wants to, or there is fear or whatever situation, and it can at will project it outside also. It is perfectly under its control. Similarly, for a realized person, the senses, the mind, the intellect is perfectly under their control. This is a sign of a realized person. The senses, everything is totally under his control. So whenever required, he projects them, and whenever required, he can withdraw them at will. Otherwise, it is very difficult. Our senses are so powerful that they don't listen to us. Our eyes keep on moving here and there, they don't listen. Our ears keep on hearing whatever they want. Our tongue, Swami Vivekananda used to say that if one can only conquer his tongue, one can conquer the whole world at ease. The tongue has got 2-3 portfolios: taste, touch, and speaking. It's an organ of action as well as perception. So it's very powerful. So if one can control tongue, then one can control other senses also. But it's very difficult for an ignorant person. But a wise person, it is perfectly is possible. There is a story in Bhagavad of Shukdev ji. Shukdev ji was the son of Vedvyas ji. And Vedvyas ji one day sent him to Janak Maharaj. He said that you go to Janak Maharaj to confirm your knowledge. Shukdev ji was already great master, but he said you go to Janak Maharaj. So Shukdev ji went. But when he reached that Janak Maharaj's place, he was not given immediate entry. He was told to wait. Bahar ruk jana, bata denge. So he was waiting. For many days he was waiting. Without getting agitated, he just waited. Then after a few days, they gave him entry. And with great, elaborate welcome was given to him. With music, dance, and all sorts of aarti, this, that and all. And he came. He was not agitated by waiting there, and nor got excited by all this dance and drama and all. He remained totally steady, absolutely free from all agitation. His senses did not get attracted towards all those things which are happening outside. So realized master is one whose senses are absolutely under his control. Indriyani indriyarthebhyaha. From the indriya artha, the objects of the senses are withdrawn whenever required and projected whenever required. If such a thing has happened, then understand that person is an enlightened person. Tasya pradnya pratisthita. His buddhi, his understanding is firm, is free from all distraction and disturbance. See, this we see also in case of Murti only, but this Nandi is always there in front of Lord Shiva. And you will find that Nandi is constantly looking at Lord Shiva. No distraction. नहीं? मंदिर में लोग घंटी बजाते हैं, प्रसाद लेके आते हैं. A lot of other distractions are there. But Nandi doesn't turn around and look, क्या हो रहा है? So all the time looking at Lord Shiva only. Similarly, the realized master's attention is all the time in his supreme self alone, doesn't get distracted by anything of this world. Nothing can distract the great Mahatma. There's a very interesting thing about Bhagwan Ramana Maharshi, that once he was sitting with a lot of devotees, and he was sitting very peacefully. Other devotees were there, they were also sitting peacefully. Suddenly one snake entered that, and everyone got real excited and all. Started jumping and wanted to harm the snake or catch it or do something. But Bhagwan remained unmoved, like he knew that snake has come and all, but there was totally no disturbance in his state. So for a realized person, there is no what you call surprise, there is no shock. Generally, for ignorant person, there is everything sometimes gives a shock. It was so shocking and all. But for a realized master, there is nothing shocking, there is nothing surprising. Even if the whole world collapses, he will not be shocked. Or if something great happens, he will not be surprised. Everything is same. He sees that truth in all conditions. So, indriyani indriyarthebhyah tasya prajna pratisthita. And this also one can practice, try to control our senses as much as possible. And this can be done by keeping our attention on the Supreme. Directly if we try to control the senses, it is difficult. But if we shift our attention to something superior, something sublime, something divine, then it becomes easier. If one is said, don't think about objects, it's difficult. But if one is said, you think about that divinity, think about God, it's easier. So through japa, through puja, through upasana, through satsang, through study, we can slowly and steadily control our senses. Further, he says, Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha param drishtva nivartate. Vishaya vinivartante niraharasya dehinaha. Bhagavan says that sometimes even for an ignorant person or a person who is unwell or one who puts forth lot of effort, one can remain away from all the objects of the senses which attract us. One can remain away from them. One can become nirahari. Nirahari means doesn't take in the outer objects within. Means try to control them at the level of the senses. Seeing, hearing, tasting, touching, one can just try to remain away from all this. Nirahari. Total control over eating. Keep everything away. सबसे दूर, ये खाना नहीं चाहिए, मीठा नहीं खाना चाहिए, आप सो फ्रिज में से भी सब मीठा निकाल दिया, कमरे में से भी सब मीठा निकाल दिया. So like that we can remain away from all this, and the objects also start going. People also stop giving them gulab jamun. खाते नहीं, क्या करना है, चलो. But in case of an ignorant person, Bhagwan says that rasavarjam, उसका रस रह जाता है. Objects तो चले जाते हैं, but उसका रस रह जाता है. Means the taste, the longing for the objects remain. Even if one stays away from those objects, for sometimes it is possible, for a long time also it is possible to stay away. Some people, they renounce everything, go into the forest, go to some ashram, stay there for a long time. No more sensual, what you call, pleasures, simple living, simple food, simple clothing, simple staying away from all the fanciful things of this world. So one may feel that, oh, I have control all my senses. Now I am slowly becoming more and more enlightened. But Bhagavan says that the rasa remains, the longing remains. Because even when we think, remain away, we keep on thinking of that object. So how to remove that longing also? He says, Rasavarjam raso api asya param drishtva nivartate. That even the rasa goes away when we come to recognize, realize, experience the Supreme. The more and more we experience the inner joy, the more and more we experience the joy of meditation, the more and more we experience the joy of bhajan, the more and more we experience the joy of that contemplation, the more we become free of this attachment to the world outside. See, in order to get rid of one joy, you have to experience a higher joy. Then we can become free of the attachment to the lower joy. So, rasavarjam, raso api asya param drishtva nivartate. Param, that supreme reality, that Brahma, when one experiences that is me, that is I, aham eva tad iti, that I am that Brahma, when the direct experience happens, then even the rasa, the longing which is there in the objects, they also go away. Then even when the person sees the object, even when the person come in contact with the object, there is no attachment to the object. In the beginning, we have to stay away from these objects which can be harmful to us. But as we come to experience our own inner joy, inner self, this longing also will start becoming less and less and less. And finally, it will just disappear. For an enlightened person, there is no longing for these worldly objects. Sometimes people go to some place, ashrams or Himalayas, and they see some great sadhus, great yogis there. And we try to compare ourselves with them, or try to put ourselves in their situation. And then we feel sometimes how does he stay here? What does he eat? How does he live? So we feel, we try to compare ourselves with them. तो उनको कुछ हम देना चाहते हैं. स्वामी जी आपके लिए ये लड्डू लेके आ गए हैं. Once it happened, our Pujya Gurudev's teacher, Swami Taponji Maharaj, he used to stay in Uttar Kashi, totally free of all attachment to worldly things. Even the little comforts of our life, he did not want them. He used to just sit on a simple asan. And people, devotees used to come, they used to offer something to him. That also he was not attached. So when Pujya Gurudev was learning at his feet with other disciples, somebody from Delhi brought some nice mithai. मिठाई का बड़ा बक्सा उनको दे दिया तपोन जी महाराज को. So he was teaching some high philosophy and suddenly that baksa came. So he told that अंदर रख दो. So all of them were thinking कि अभी हमको मिलेगा बाद में प्रसाद. So half their attention was there only. एक दिन हो गया नहीं मिला, दूसरे दिन हो गया, नहीं मिला. So all the students got little agitated also. स्वामी जी अकेले अंदर बैठ के खाते होंगे, हमको भी नहीं देते हैं. And it went on for 1 week. Then they lost all hope कि 1 week में तो खराब हो गया होगा. Then he told them कि अंदर जो बक्सा रखा हुआ है, it was as it was given, packed. इसे उसको गंगा जी में बहा के लेके आओ. Neither he ate nor he gave anyone. He said उसको. So free from all this attachment and excitement of this world, which we feel is exciting. We compare ourselves with them and think what gives us joy must be giving them joy. What gives us sadness must be giving them sadness. हम रोज टीवी देखते हो, उनके पास टीवी नहीं, तो हम कहते हो पता नहीं, छोटा सा टीवी लाके दे दूँ हमको. So like that, it is totally different. So rasavarjam rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. So one who experiences this param, this supreme, even the rasa, the longing also goes away. So for a seeker, we should continuously strive to experience that unconditional joy of our own heart. Unconditional joy. If one experiences conditional joy, we get attached. Because we get attached to the condition. We should strive to experience unconditional joy, unconditional peace, which is our own nature. So through all our sadhana, we should do. And as we experience it more and more, our longing for the worldly pleasures, for worldly excitement will also go away. So rasopyasya param drishtva nivartate. For all this, there should be total control over our senses. The realized master has total control over his senses. What happens if our senses are not under our control? That is being said now in the following verses. And how to control also is given. Yatato hyapi kaunteya पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इंद्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः यततो ह्यपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः. Bhagavan says that even for a person who is vipaschitaha, a wise person means one a learned person, one who has studied the scriptures, a wise seeker, a wise student, and yatataha api, and he is striving to attain that state of enlightenment. A wise seeker striving, yatataha, yatna karta hai, प्रयत्न करता है, puts forth effort to gain that abidance in his own self. Even such a person who pays total attention to the self, even for such person, when the senses, by chance, if the senses get attracted towards the object, because senses you cannot keep them closed all the time. The eyes, you cannot keep them closed all the time. The ears cannot be kept closed. So the senses are there, and when the senses come in contact with the world of objects, then what happens? Indriyani pramathini. These indriyas are very, very turbulent, very restless. And sometimes they get attracted towards some of the objects, and once they get attracted, haranti prasabham manaha, forcefully they take away the mind also. The senses are there, which comes in contact with the world of objects. Behind the senses are our mind. Behind the mind is our buddhi. With that buddhi we are meditating on that self. But if our attention, if our senses get attracted to the world, the mind also forcefully go after the senses, then that buddhi also goes after the mind, and whole our sadhana goes waste. Not waste, but we get distracted. But it becomes like an obstacle on our path. So yatataha api, yatna karte huve bhi, and there are so many cases mentioned in our scriptures also of great yogis and some distraction through which comes through the senses, and the mind also runs after it, and there is patan of that great yogi. There is a story which you must have heard, famous example like of a yogi who is meditating in his kutia, free from all distraction, and doesn't have any possession, only the bare minimum dress which he is wearing, the kaupin and all. So one day he finds that some chuha has eaten some portion of his dress. So he feels little disturbed. क्या चूहा खा रहा है? So he thinks that I will keep one बिल्ली ला के रख देता हूँ कुटिया में. So he goes to the village. Every day he used to go for bhiksha. So that day he went and asked for billi also. So billi लेके आ गया, cat. Then billi cannot just stay there eating chuha. Billi also should be fed. So he thought I should go and get some milk also every day to the cat. So every day he used to get milk for the cat. Then he said, every day milk and all. Let me get one cow only. So he asked for a cow, and somebody gave him cow. Bhiksha mein, chalo, le lo. So he got the cow. Then taking of the care of the cow, milking the cow, giving the milk to the cat and all those things. Then he said, we will keep someone to take care of this cow. So गांव में से one girl was there. Chalo, to take care of the cow. Then he said, girl and all those, let me marry her only. So he got married. Then after few years, the whole house also, that kutia changed into a house. Chilli pilli bacche ho gaye. Then all this samsar began. Then वो बच्चों को स्कूल में एडमिशन करवाना था, and all those things. And from a yogi he became a bhogi then, and finally became a rogi also. So slowly and steadily through our senses, our mind goes out, and after the mind of buddhi also goes, and everything. So one should have total control over the senses. So yatataha api kaunteya purushasya vipaschitaha, even for a wise seeker, indriyani pramatini, the indriyas are very powerful. Haranti prasabham manaha, forcefully they carry away the mind of the seeker. So it seems very negative, very pessimistic situation, that means even for a wise person cannot do this. Even for a person who is striving, putting forth all effort, he cannot attain this state of total control. Then what to talk about others? He said, but there is a upaya, there is a method of doing it. So what is the method? That is said now in the next verse. Bhagavan says, Tani sarvani sanyamya yukta asita matparaha vashe hi yasyendriyani tasya prajna pratishtita tani sarvani sanyamya. our Pujya Gurudev is to call this as sublimation. There is one thing called suppression. One is suppression of the senses. With force we control our senses. And as long as we put forth that effort, as long as our force is there, the senses remain under control. But after some times when we become weak, again it goes out of control. Suppression doesn't help. What is required is sublimation. And what is sublimation? That after controlling the senses, you have to direct them towards a higher goal. The suppression or control should be associated with directing all the energy which we have conserved towards the higher goal. It's like same thing like we put a dam in the river. The flow of the river is stopped, but if you just stop the flow, the water, the force is so powerful that it can break that dam. So after stopping, we have to give some outlet, and that can be given according to our choice. We can direct the water to wherever we want it to go. Similarly, our senses, they are controlled by our mind. The mind is directed by our buddhi. It's all great energy is there. There is power. There is power in our senses. There is power in our mind, our buddhi. All of them are very, very powerful. So just by stopping them, suppressing them will not help. Suppressing our senses, our mind will not help. It will lead to all sorts of frustration and craziness and all. People can go mad. So what is required is that you control the senses and direct the energy towards a higher goal. That is very important. If that is not done, then it's totally useless. Some people, they have great control over their senses and all, but doesn't have any higher goal, doesn't have any understanding of something superior. Then for some time it may happen that they have total control, but after a time they lose control. So that is not the right way. So that is what Bhagavan says, ki tani sarvani sayyamya, controlling all your senses, you sit directing your attention toward the supreme, toward the higher. Tani sarvani sayyamya yukta asita mat paraha. Bhagavan says, considering me, Ishvara, as supreme, you sit. Sit means you shift all your attention towards me. After controlling the senses, you pay attention to me. Consider me as supreme. So yukta, integrating all your personalities, direct all your energy towards me. That is the most important. So such a person who can do this, vashehi yasya indriyani, the indriyas will come under control. Otherwise it is very difficult. If one doesn't have a higher goal, then all our control and all these things will be totally temporary. See, even for students, when the exams are there and they have that goal in front of them that I should do good in exams, I should get my good result and get admission in the good college and all, when that goal is there firmly in their mind, they can have total control over their senses also. उस समय एग्ज़ाम के दिनों में टोटल खाना पीना मौज मस्ती एवरीथिंग इज टोटली हेल्ड अंडर कंट्रोल. एकदम ऐसा लगता है कि साधु हो गया है. नहीं, why? Because that goal is there. But the goal might be low, high, whatever, but goal is there. So with the help of that energy, the whatever energy we conserve, it is directed towards that goal. Same thing is done if we consider Bhagavan as supreme. He is our ultimate goal. He is my destination. I have to become one with Him. I have to gain that state of enlightenment. The more and more we can imagine, the more and more we can visualize the state of enlightenment, and the more we want it, it will become easier for us to control our senses. Because there is something positive, something superior, for which we are ready to give up the lower thing. There was one great, a Mahatma. Some Shethji, some rich person came there and he did namaskar to that Mahatma. He said, "You are such a great person, you have renounced everything, so I am doing namaskar to you." So the Mahatma also got up and did namaskar to that Shethji. He said, "Why are you doing?" He said, "You are greater than me, so I am doing namaskar to you." "But what I am not greater." He said, "I have renounced the world to attain God, who is the supreme. There is nothing greater than God. But you have renounced God to get some worldly things. So your renunciation seems to be greater." So we have to have this high goal, then to control our senses becomes easier. Vashehi yasya indriyani tasya prajna pratishtita. So one who has got total control over his senses, his prajna, his understanding in his own self will become firm, will become steady. More about this we will see tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.